Millennials did not burn out because they were weak. They burned out because they were told that exhaustion was the price of worth. The moment you stop paying that price, you start getting your life back. Now every word builds toward this. Every section, every sentence, every pause, every reveal. All of it leads here. You did everything right. You went to college, got the degree, worked the extra hours, started the side hustle, took the online course, tracked the habits, optimized the morning, hustled, grinded, executed, repeated. And you are more exhausted than any generation that came before you. Not tired, exhausted, at 35 years old. Why? A 2023 Gallup study found something that should be front page news. Millennials are the most burned out generation in the modern workforce. Not the oldest workers, not the ones doing the hardest physical labor. Millennials, the ones who are told they could be anything. 59% report feeling burned out, always or very often. But here is the number that changes everything. Millennials are the first generation in modern history projected to be less financially secure than their parents. Therefore, they work more. Therefore, they sleep less. Therefore, they burn out faster. Therefore, they work even more, trying desperately to close the gap. But the gap keeps growing. The loop never ends. And nobody told them the loop was the problem. They told them to hustle harder. Therefore, the exhaustion deepened. Therefore, the burnout spread. Therefore, an entire generation began disappearing into their laptops, searching for a finish line that was never actually there. But here is what nobody covered. The cause of the exhaustion is not what you think it is, at all. Every generation before millennials had something that millennials lost. A clearly defined end. Your grandfather clocked out at 5 p.m. He walked out. The office could not follow. There were no emails chasing him home, no Slack messages appearing on his wrist, no expectation of instant response to a message sent at 11 p.m. by a manager who confused urgency with importance. He stopped. Work stopped with him. Millennials were handed a device that made them permanently reachable, permanently available, permanently on, permanently accountable, permanently performing productivity for an audience that never closed its eyes or went to sleep. The workday never ended. The brain never recovered. The exhaustion became permanent. But it is not just the availability. It is what the same device delivered alongside the work. Comparison content at 2 a.m. Financial news at breakfast. Everyone else's highlight reel playing on a loop exactly when your own life felt most difficult and most inadequate. All of it. Every day. Since their mid-20s. Now here is the angle. Nobody in the productivity space will ever tell you because it would destroy their business. In 1974, psychologist Herbert Freudenberger first used the word burnout to describe what he saw in the volunteer workers at his New York free clinic. They were not lazy. They were not weak. They were not uncommitted. They were the most committed people he had ever observed. And that was exactly the problem. Therefore, Freudenberger discovered something that the entire self-help industry has spent 50 years pretending does not exist. Burnout does not come from working too hard. It comes from working too hard on things that feel meaningless. But the productivity industry built a $40 billion business on the opposite idea. That exhaustion is a systems problem. That burnout is an efficiency problem. That the solution is a better morning, a better calendar, a better to-do list, a better optimization of the very system that is making you sick. Therefore, millennials bought the books, the apps, the planners, the courses, the coaching programs. Therefore, they optimized and optimized and optimized and still felt empty because nobody told them that you cannot optimize your way out of a meaning crisis. Viktor Frankl survived 3 years in Nazi concentration camps. The people who survived longest were not the physically strongest. They were the ones who maintained a sense of meaning in what they were enduring. Millennials are working this hard for a destination they were never allowed to choose. That is the exhaustion. Japan has a word for death by overwork. Karoshi. It became so common that the Japanese government made it a legally recognized cause of death in 1987. But Japan also gave us Ikigai, your reason for being. Not the job, not the salary, not the hustle, the reason underneath all of it. Therefore, the most overworked culture on earth also discovered the antidote. Purpose does not eliminate hard work. It transforms it. Work with Ikigai feels different. It costs differently. It recovers differently. It means differently. Millennials did not burn out because they were weak. They burned out because they were told that exhaustion was the price of worth. The moment you stop paying that price, you start getting your life back. Subscribe to Deep Think, because the most important things are almost never the ones they put on the front page. Comment below right now. Does this explain something you have been feeling but could not name? Deep Think reads every single comment and personally replies to each one.